take two different approaches to teaching methods and techniques to the undergraduate researchers that I work with. For some of my students, they already will have taken a methods course in our major. We intentionally include it at the 200 level so that students get an early introduction to methods and can think about conducting their own undergraduate research as sophomores, juniors, seniors. And so for those students, it's really part of the curriculum. They learn some of the common research methods that we think of both as the academic side of my discipline, but also the professional applications that students might encounter immediately after graduation when they go into the workforce. So for example, in our industry, we do a lot with usability testing, and we do a lot with before something even goes live, getting a sense of how users and audience members will react to that product. And so our research methods course integrates those types of research methods in addition to more traditional academic research methods like interviews, focus groups, those types of things. So students who take the course get those experiences in the course. Sometimes those students will either start a research project before they've taken the course, or they are working more on the fringes. They might be a minor who is not actually going to take the course that's required in the major. In those cases, I try to work with them in a couple different ways. They might start by assisting with one of my research projects so that they can learn how to refine a survey, or how to conduct an interview, or how to analyze results from a focus group. And then after they are comfortable with the methods, then we start thinking about the methods that will work for the questions that they want to ask and that they want to investigate. At that point, it's a much more of a one-on-one, just-in-time development. If we realize that a focus group is going to be really helpful for their research, then we'll start looking at examples of focus groups in the discipline. We'll read a couple introductory chapters, and we'll spend a week together just talking through what they're learning about that particular method. So it's really a combination for me of some things that are structured through the course, and then also filling in the edges, thinking about additional knowledge that students might need that hasn't been covered in their prior coursework, but that is relevant to the project that they're pursuing.
So I think the way that I try to teach the technical skills in my discipline is really to sort of model that for the most part, and try to show them ways in which we can access information and get information that we need for the data. But then also, if it is like a true laboratory technique, oftentimes I'll rely on other mentors to we scaffold it and so that they can sort of teach the newer people what the techniques are that we're trying to do, so that there's a sort of a continuing sort of opportunities for people to learn mentoring skills as well.
So I spend a lot of time with my mentees on just establishing what does research in dance look like from a creative point of view. I am a choreographer, so I come into it with that lens. And I begin by breaking down what it means to choreograph and what are all the different layers that one unpeels, if you will, in the choreographic process. And it often starts with the very base. Is this a conceptual or a narrative piece of choreography? And explaining to the student what the conceptual process is, what the narrative process is, and then how those two can intertwine. And then just kind of laying out very methodically the creative process. So creating creative prompts for the student to then go into the studio and investigate. Those are choreographic prompts. It also means giving the student other tasks to accomplish, such as researching a variety of artists, visual artists, music composers, film directors, authors, and starting to dissect those works of art from a choreographic compositional point of view. I tend to believe that across all of the art genres, there are some similarities in terms of the creative process. And when I look at a Picasso painting and start to analyze it for color and tone and depth and perception, those are things that we work with all the time in dance. So really detailing those types of research steps, if you will. And then, of course, we get to the point where the student is actually generating movement of their own making.
Sometimes we're actually sitting side by side, working something out together. For example, I'm working with a survey project with a student, and we were trying to figure out how to make survey logic work the way we wanted it to. So we were both sitting at my computer figuring out how to make Qualtrics do what we wanted it to do. And that type of skill building, it was community building too, because she saw that I can get frustrated with the tools too, and I'm not an expert on everything, but we could work together and figure it out. And I think it gave her some confidence that she doesn't have to be an expert to participate in the research. She just has to be willing to learn how to do new things.